This is Judge Joe Brown, and we're listening to We All Be News. News-free Dixie for the 21st century.
To commemorate emancipation on Browns Island, which is the place where the folk festival actually happened.
Really?
And so the thing about Browns Island is that any given day they have festivals there that cost money to get on.
Really?
So they'll have our enslaved African released ancestors yet again enslaved so that they can't even be with their people unless you have coin to pay. And it was a decision that these very same people are coming tomorrow from the city to announce that instead of them using the $19 million that the governor gave them to commemorate African ancestry, they've chosen to unearth a dungeon inside that fence on the other side of this tunnel rather than put funds together to commemorate our African ancestors' final resting place, and left it to us when they knew that they were going to have a press conference and have people from all over the country, and finally, after years and years of deliberation, break ground on it. They've actually got the same people, the firm that created the Smithsonian Museum, are the same firm that they hired to build the museum here. They're calling it Lumpkin's Slave Jail Project. I have a problem with using the language Lumpkin Slave Jail because I don't want the children to believe that enslaved Africans are, number one, slaves. They've been liberated. We liberated them. We venerate them. They don't need to be attached to the word slave. You don't call people niggers nowadays, coming from a place of honor and respect. You don't have to call them Negroes coming from a place of honor and respect. And we don't have to call our ancestors slaves. That was their condition. They were enslaved, but they are our honored, beloved, unseen ancestors. And for them to build a museum called the Lumpkin's Slave Jail is a problem, because when children come from all over the world to this space and they connect slave and jail together, psychologically, that's going to give them the indication that somehow their ancestors did something wrong. It's a torture chamber. People like Solomon Northrop were tortured there, in that space right there, and all around. Yes, actually, Solomon Northrop was tortured in that gas station parking lot.
Really?
But many people, this was the most notorious enslavement pen in the nation at one time, right in that fence. And this is what they've chosen to spend $19 million to bring back so that they can have a commemoration of enslavement. I personally spend my time venerating the ancestors on their final resting place because I deal with ancestors of Egunfemi. But the pain associated with that place, and given in the wrong hands of people that don't understand the psychological impact of leading people through something that was a torture chamber that hasn't been elevated, that people have not done the proper rituals in order to release the pain of that space, is very problematic for me. If that's someone else's work, I've stepped away from my concerns about what other people do, and I've channeled my energies into what I should be doing. So I don't have a dog in that fight. I just pray that the ancestors touch their hearts so that they can see it a different way and call upon the people who feel led to do that work. But it is a torture chamber right there. There's ifs, no ifs, and buts about it, and they're about to build the National Slavery Museum on that spot.
Wow.
Well, the thing is that they were appropriated $19 million to hire the same people that built it But another reason why, I'll tell you another secret reason why they're doing it, is because after it was a torture chamber, right after the war, the woman who was married to the owner of it was black.
Wow.
He was married to a black woman.
He was a white man?
And he was a white man, and he owned the largest slavery ring in the nation. And when he died right after the war in 1865, he gave her the property as a inheritance. And so this white man came from the north, an Episcopal man, and he said, can I please turn this into a school for educating black people? On the surface, if you don't have eyes to see and ears to hear, you would think that was a good thing.
Right.
But then when you realize that neocolonialism actually exists, and that there were those who sought to enslave us through education and not teach us the things that we need to do to continue to liberate ourselves, that it was just yet another way of training people to control. If you look at it right now, that place that turned into that school right after 1865 ended up turning into being Virginia Union University. That's where Virginia Union University was born.
Really?
The mayor graduated from Virginia Union University. The head of the Slave Trail Commission graduated from Virginia Union University. Also, one of the delegates that votes like super delegates and all that stuff, who determines who your presidential elected candidates are going to be, also same thing.
Wow.
So if you realize the science behind this, and you realize he's about to be out of office in 3 weeks, and you realize why they're trying to push it so fast to go, and all this has been contention for the last 8 years. We've been heckling, we've been fighting. He didn't even want to take the pavement off of this space. We had to fight by laying our bodies down so that the cars couldn't drive here.
Wow.
It wasn't like they said, oh, we're going to help you, we're going to do this. We actually had to take the pavement off ourselves.
Really?
Yes, 3 black contractors came in and pulled the pavement off and didn't get a dime. And they have $19 million. They're appropriated $270,000 a year to keep this space. And I'm telling you, me personally hired people to pick up 50 bags of trash and mow and prepare and put flowers in here 2 days ago in anticipation for us coming down here. Because if you had seen the 90 beer cans that were in that walkway, there was more beer cans than leaves in that space 2 days ago.
Wow. And so it's the black grassroots community that actually upkeeping this space.
Well, when the pavement was taken off and the sod was laid, it was the black community who did it, and it was defenders of freedom. As you can see, we have different races that come to support.
Right.
But it's all people that are supporting what initiatives we feel led to promote. As far as keeping the space clean and everything like that, I'll tell you point blank, I've paid out of my pocket my own money 3 times this year, 4 times now this year to be able to do that. A lot of times I'm doing the other work, but I'll hire people to do it and encourage people to do it. We have some people who come quietly, but they don't have the equipment to be able. One guy actually did it with a pocket knife, barehanded, pulling the weeds out. They were up to our waist. You can't tell what it looked like. You cannot tell. There is no area. You see what that is like over there?
Yeah.
That's what it looked like 2 days ago.
Wow.
Everywhere. Everywhere. Like it was all the way up to that flag.
Wow.
2 days ago.
Wow. So what can people do that want to get involved, that want to help? What would be the best way for folks to get involved to help?
It depends on what your idea of helping. If you're not physically in this space, then the best thing to do is go ahead and encourage those who are. Push the word. You know, if you have like some position of authority, if you're a gatekeeper, call for us to come and speak to your communities with a budget so we can get there and we can talk. And that's the main thing. People that are gatekeepers need to actually compensate those who are doing this work, because right now there might be sometimes a strange push not to empower the work. I mean, I didn't see anybody that was an elected official on this spot except for one girl, Kim Gray. And this is the whole city council. This is Gabriel Day. They're going to announce breaking that ground open to open up those demons out of that hole where that torture chamber is tomorrow. But not one single one of them showed up to be able to say, we like what you're doing, community. Not one single one of them. And I will look at them tomorrow and say, where were you yesterday? Will you want to dig this hole open and let these people out? Let me tell you, nobody's buried over there, but the tortures that happened over there, they actually had things that are unspeakable. Because you know, Europeans have a way of doing things that are murderous and maligning of other human beings that we would never think to do to another human being. So that's what was going on over there.
Wow.
And so that's what they want to pull up out of the ground. They don't want to come and even acknowledge that we're doing this over here. Well, we still do our work.
So what's your organization? What you represent?
I represent Untold REA. I'm the founder of Untold REA.
Okay.
We represent the missing pieces. We're the people's choice for the ethical presentation of the missing pieces within Richmond's historical narrative.
Thank you for that. Were you able to go to the College of Wilson Association?
I did not go. It wasn't really a push for community community people to actually go to that, to be honest.
It's a tale of two, yeah.
And also, like, I was really busy getting ready for this. I haven't slept in 36 hours for the third time this week. Right. But, you know, power to the people.
Power to the people. And can you tell us a little quick story about Gabriel Prosser, why we should remember a brother like him?
Well, we don't call him Gabriel Prosser because that was his slave name.
Okay.
We call him Brother Gabriel or Brother General Gabriel.
Okay.
Basically, he was a child who was exposed to things that were happening in France because he was apprenticed to a man that was French-Canadian here in Chaco Bottom. His family was left back like maybe about 15 miles from here, and they forced him to come here and work as a blacksmith because they felt like he was too black and too strong, and they kicked him off into a work situation to be away from his family, and he was literally working within a half a block of here. And then he found out that people were getting their freedom in like the Toussaint Louverture and the Haitian Revolution and the French and all that. So he started to quietly start an insurrection that included the entire state, and they were sharpening their hoes and their work tools and stuff like that. And eventually they had a plan that they had co-opted the black older man that had the keys to the armory in the governor's mansion, and they were going to take the governor hostage and demand freedom for all people. They had over several thousand people in on this, but it rained like it rained last night, and it washed the bridges out, and so he wasn't able to be successful, and then someone snitched. He got away for 2 weeks, and then someone snitched again, and they basically thwarted the revolution. Wow. Lo and behold, here we are today. But the governor did release Gabriel in 2007 from having he got an unofficial pardon.
Okay.
Right.
Like he did anything wrong. I mean, things like Marcus Garvey.
Unofficial pardon.
Like when he did anything wrong.
Thank you. It really was. Thank you so much for everything.
So,
Cal, I got something for you though.
So we'll wrap it up. Like, you have any other words or thoughts you want to share?
All I want to say is that, you know, there's so much hidden history, but encourage the children to go into the history degrees in school, because we can really change things by making sure that they get into those career paths and stuff. It is actually a viable career path. And encourage the children to become historians, because it's our story, and it's a shame that in the higher levels of academia we don't have more of a presence. But encourage the children when they go to college to become historians. I think that'll change everything.
Well, thank you, sister. In the words of Great Duke Ellington, we love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing.
Peace and blessings.